I am Grace and I am a lifestyle photographer. After I got my first camera in 2005, I started to learn more about photography, and in 2007, I decided I wanted to pursue a career in this industry, but I didn't know how. I began by photographing weddings as I love being around people and happy occasions. Soon, I transitioned into portrait photography, and now I photograph people across all age groups from 2 weeks to 100 years of age. I love taking photos of families because it's really meaningful to capture relationships and connection between people. When my dad was diagnosed with Alzheimer's in 2006, it really reinforced the power of photography in my mind and how memories captured can bring so much joy to someone. When I photograph my clients, it's really important for me to get to know them as a person. People are unique with different personalities, interests, and quirks. I hope to create images that are authentic to them. This can only be done if I make an effort to know them personally. I do this through a questionnaire that I send prior to a photo shoot, communicating expectations via calls or messages, and also spending some time breaking the ice on the day of the shoot. If you are a budding family portrait photographer, you might start off by photographing the people closest to you, like your friends. You might think you know them well enough, but it's always good to ask questions like, what is important to you as a family? What does your family like to do together? What are your relationships like? Are there certain limitations we should be aware of? Find out their story and see how you can tell their story through images. When I'm in a new environment, I walk around to scout for corners that I can shoot in. The first thing I look out for is lighting. Since I shoot mostly with natural light, I will see which areas have the best light for me to work with. If a client's home has a garden, or we can shoot at a condo's poolside, I'll suggest a timing for the shoot that starts as early as 8 AM to maximize the morning light before it gets too hot. If I do a shoot in the evening, we can start indoors but then move outdoors after 5 PM. Shooting at noon outdoors is not my preference, and I try to avoid it if possible, but if I find myself in that situation, I will always look for shaded areas. Large windows like these are great for natural light. I usually like turning my subject 45 degrees towards the light source so that you can see some shadows shaping their face. To create a different look, get your subjects back to the window and shoot towards that direction. This high-key shot will look very different compared to closing the blackout curtains and positioning the client against a sliver of light. 3 different looks from one location. Sometimes the weather is not on my side, and if it rains and the home is gloomy, I'll either increase my ISO or use some additional lighting to make the image. The most basic setup would be to have an umbrella with an off-camera flash in your kit. It's simple, fast to set up, and easy to use. I used the Canon EOS R body with an adapter to fit my EF lenses. I love using prime lenses for my portraits. It allows me to let more light into my camera with wider maximum apertures. My favorite go-to lenses would be my 50mm, my 24mm, 35mm, 85 and 135mm lenses. I use a wide range so that I can tell different stories by including or excluding information in one composition. The next thing I look out for is background. I dislike clutter in my images, so I try to find clean backgrounds that will not distract the image itself. I'm quite used to removing dustbins and moving furniture around in a client's home to maximize the position and lighting for a better image. I don't use a tripod when I shoot, so it's so much easier and faster to move around when I shoot handheld. The EOS R camera is lightweight and gives me flexibility since I do move around very fast, plus the kids run or crawl around really fast too. Image stabilization helps me to reduce camera shake and capture fleeting moments. I also love the flip screen and how it gives me flexibility in capturing moments from different angles. For every photo shoot, I always want to capture the most authentic and happy moments of my subject and to make sure they are comfortable being themselves during the shoot. Especially when it comes to photographing your family and friends, there will always be different challenges that you will face with different age groups. I usually talk to my clients as I photograph them or get them to play and chat with other family members during a session. With toddlers, play is a huge part of my photography session.
Find Daddy, where's Daddy? Where's Daddy?
I create fun challenges by saying, let's play a game and see who can laugh the loudest, Mommy, Daddy, or you. We think of games like playing with bubbles, toys, throwing kids in the air, blowing on their tummies. Laughing and getting natural expressions becomes easier this way. With the Eye AF feature combined with continuous shutter speed, I can catch sharp images of children moving or jumping with their eyes clearly in focus. I shoot in manual mode all the time, and with fast-moving kids, my equipment helps me to capture images without missing a moment. With teenagers, I find that they are generally more aloof. Some of them have been forced to come to a photo shoot by their parents. With teenagers, adults, or elderly people, my approach is similar. I try to get to know these people by curiously asking questions. When conversations start, doors open and I get a glimpse into who they are. Some people take extra time to warm up to me, and that's okay. I'll just let them interact with other family members who they are most comfortable with. I'll ask them to talk to one another and maybe create a little moment together by saying, when was the last time you hugged your parents? Give them a cuddle now. Or, what do brothers and sisters usually do together? It usually ends up with some ear-pulling shots or wrestling matches. Sometimes, some babies or kids will just have their off days. No matter what I do, it doesn't seem to get through to them. It's so important that parents ensure kids have had their naps and have been well fed before a session. No one can look happy if they're physically tired or hangry. As a photographer, these days will happen, and it's not really your fault if you can't get that child to smile. Don't beat yourself up for it. If a child needs a break to eat, do that. Maybe a 5 to 10 minute break is what both of you need. If you're a budding family portrait photographer, my advice would be to be genuinely interested in people. Speak to them from a mindset of getting to know them and building a relationship with them. Put yourselves in your client's shoes. It's not easy allowing a stranger into your life and being vulnerable in front of the camera. If you are feeling nervous, your vibe might rub off on the client. Get into the right frame of mind before a session by mentally preparing yourself. If your session was not so successful, keep your head up. Learn from the mistakes you made and keep going. You can only get better.
Canon, delighting you always.